It's Saturday, April 16th, and this is Drive Check, a Cardfight Vanguard podcast.
It can work with Android and Apple, and it's circular.
I thought it was a phone.
Well, the Moto X is a phone, which I have as well. I'm Moto out.
It's made by Motorola?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have a smartwatch at all. I don't have a dumb watch at all. I don't wear anything on my wrist.
I need a watch.
I don't like watches either.
Why do you feel that you need a watch?
I don't know. It's just because I check my wrist more than I check my phone for like time and date usually. So it's just out of a habit that I've got.
I try to live my life without feeling chained by time, date, where I'm supposed to be at any particular time. I want to live on my own rhythms. So why don't you wear a watch, Jack?
I just don't like watches, I guess. I feel like when I have stuff on my wrist and stuff, it just feels, I don't know how to explain it. I don't really have an excuse. Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like I have a superstition that if I am supposed to be someplace at a certain time, or if I'm just trying to meet a deadline or something, if I look at the time, it will automatically become later than it actually was. So I avoid looking at the time as much as possible when there's someplace I have to be.
That is, in fact, how time works, Will.
Yep.
Well, okay, right? That's why it's a superstition and not a reality issue. But the only clock I have in my house is broken. It doesn't move. And I've covered up on my DVR and stuff, the little clock that's on the front of that. So I can't look at it. So I keep time under my own control. But we're here to talk about Vanguard, right?
We are.
I believe that's what we talk about on this podcast occasionally. And I don't know, we're doing the recording earlier, so I'm not sure if anybody's had a chance to get any games in.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet,
I know Cole's going to be playing later today. Jack, are you going to be playing later today?
Depends on friends and if they're free, because I have work later today, so if they're free before I have to go to work, then I will be playing.
That's cool. You should what you should do is exercise that Kagero deck before you choose to give it away. See if it actually works out for you.
Yeah, well, let's see. I'm still thinking about the deal. I haven't it's still in its early developmental stages.
Still in negotiations.
Exactly.
As the executives would say. And once again, Jack tried to have a Skype battle with me last night, and once again, I was walking my dog. Yeah, Friday night is just the worst because I do a 2-hour dog walk. So,
well, I'll let you know. I am free right after this. So as long as you're not walking your dog right now, I think we'll finally get one in. I'm
not sure. I may be walking my dog right now.
Oh my goodness.
No, she's actually right here next to me, trying to fall asleep, and I'm talking and keeping her awake. So let's start out with some errata from last week, which is not really an errata, but a clarification on where the term mill and mill deck comes from. We actually had a helpful listener in Washington State inform us that the origin of the term mill actually comes from Magic the Gathering, which is the original trading card game. There was a card called Millstone, and I actually have that card up here where the text of the card says, target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Isn't it nice that they included both genders, but not non-gendered? But anyways, that when it was released, it became a very popular card because it allowed people to, as Jack liked to say, toolbox with using other things that allowed you to take things out of your graveyard. But the card is named Millstone, and the deck became known as a mill deck, just to shorten on Millstone. and that is the origin of that term. So now we know when we refer to a mill deck, it's specifically taking cards directly from your deck and putting them into your discard, drop zone, graveyard, whatever your game of choice chooses to call it. And Jack had an apology to make, I believe.
I don't know if it's really an apology. It's just more of a misunderstanding. So last week when we discussed the Grand Blue Clan and their starter, Grenache, the one when you Grenache. Hey, you're not the one mispronouncing stuff for once, Will.
No, I'm never the one mispronouncing things. Let's get that very clear.
Never. So anyways, the starter who is Generation Break 1, when you call him from the drop zone, you can hollow him, and when you retire him because of him being hollowed, you can countercharge 2 or unflip 2 face down damage in your damage zone. So what I believed is when you call him out of the soul, when you ride on top of him, when you call him to the rear guard, when you do that, I thought you weren't allowed to hollow him and then retire him and just not get the skill. You are able to do that. However, I still think it's better to just leave him in the soul, and then when you call Dancing Cutlass, you get to draw a card, which is a really powerful effect, and it provides you hand advantage really early in the game.
Yes. So the kind of confusion is you can't use his ability, which is a Generation Break 1 ability, because if you have to use his Forerunner when he is immediately ridden by a grade 1. So if you wait until there's a grade 2, you can't use Forerunner anymore. And there wouldn't be a Generation Break 1 if you've only ridden up to a grade 1. So it really depends on if you want to get the 5,000 boost and then put him into the drop zone, or if you just want to keep him in the soul and have him go directly to the drop zone without ever boosting. That's your choice on that.
Yeah.
So, Cole, have you done any gameplay or any clarifications you have to provide?
Not at the time.
All right.
But I'm sure there's going to be some to come later on.
Well, we'll make sure to make plenty of mistakes as we go through this episode, and we'll be able to clear them up next week. We have been asked by listeners. We actually have a few listeners already to talk about not so much the gameplay of Vanguard, but sort of the story and lore behind the cards, and sort of what kind of a world are the cards, do they exist in? What are they trying to describe? And sort of how does it differ from other card games and the sort of the worlds that they exist in? So a little bit of background. Everything Vanguard launched in January of 2011 in Japan. So they actually did an immediate launch in 3 different areas. One was a comic. And I actually use the word comic when I talk about Vanguard because they have booster sets that are called comic style, not manga style, that are cards that have been used in the comic that have not been used in other areas. And that originally came out in a magazine called Kero Kero Ace in January. And then the first episode of the cartoon or anime for Vanguard came out on January 7th, 2011. And then the first deck of trial decks for Vanguard, which were Royal Paladins and Kagero, came out in February 2011. So the manga and the anime came out first, and then the first trial decks came out in February, and then the first booster box, Descent of the King of Knights, I think it was called, came out in March 2011. You guys have anything about the background of the launch of Vanguard? As Jack is editing our shared document that helps us while I'm trying to talk about these things, I'm like, well, thanks for rearranging all these words and numbers.
I'm trying to prevent you from having an errata next week, Will. I'm just trying to help you out here.
Oh, you're making me have an errata right now.
I know when the because the first trial decks were released, and there was, I think, like a 1 or 2 month break from the trial decks until the first set. So for a long time, you could only play either the Royal Paladin trial deck or the Kagero trial deck. And like, I think just that meta is really interesting. Like, although it sounds really stale because there's literally only 2 decks and you have no other options whatsoever, I think it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just an interesting way for a card game to start, because a lot of the time they start with a set, or like
full booster box.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's interesting too, so if anybody has not read the comic or watched the cartoon, the original couple of seasons center around 2 characters, one Aichi Sendo and the other one Toshiki Kai. And Aichi Sendo plays the Royal Paladins, Toshiki Kai plays Kagero. They are very identified with those 2 clans. So that's why those were the first 2 trial decks. And it's kind of like, if you wanted to be the young novice, you were playing the Royal Paladins. If you wanted to be the experienced older dude, then you're playing Kageros.
Experienced older dude.
I mean, Toshiki's older than Aichi.
Not by like a year.
He gave Aichi his first card.
Yeah, that's true.
So what can we say about the world of Vanguard? Cole, where does the world of Vanguard occur? What is the world of Vanguard?
The world of Vanguard is it's a card game, but it basically, you use your imagination and you transport yourself to an alien planet called Cray.
And Cray, Cray.
Yeah,
not Cray, just Cray.
Just singular Cray. And then on Cray, there are the units in the card game are divided up, and they are separated into different clans and nations, and then clans within the nations. And then basically they'll fight each other depending on what's going on.
Yeah, so right? Clans fight each other. And actually, in a strange, if you have to use your imagination that way, the same clan can fight itself, technically.
Civil War.
But fundamentally, the concept, if you want to get fully immersed in into the Vanguard imagination, and actually one of the key things that they always promote in the cartoon is that you're really supposed to use your imagination while you're playing, is that your spirit or your soul has transported to Cray, and since you're only there as a spiritual being, you cannot affect the physical world. So what you do is you call upon the Vanguard as an avatar, and you inhabit the Vanguard, and that becomes your fighting force on the surface of the planet Cray, as if the Cray is an actual place. This is different, in Magic, I don't think that you are ever conceptually in the battlefield. You call on different creatures from different planes to come and fight in battle for you. But you don't exist actually on the battlefield. You're always this external actor. In Pokemon, I've never played Magic, so is that pretty straight, like as it goes?
Yeah, that's pretty close. In Magic, you are a planeswalker, and basically you're traveling through different dimensions or planes, as they call them, and you're fighting your fight. So yeah, you will call your creatures and your spells and stuff from different planes, and then basically use them to fight your battle for you.
Yes, and in technically in Vanguard there may be multiple dimensions because of the police that come from dimensions, but it's not as extensive as it is in Magic. And in Pokemon, that's in that card game, it's very clear you are a Pokemon trainer, and you're calling upon a team of Pokemon to battle for you, much within the standard style of the Pokemon universe as it's been described. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! I have no idea. I've never done anything with Yu-Gi-Oh! So how does that compare?
Yu-Gi-Oh! You're playing a trading card game, and that's it.
Yep.
Seriously?
That is it.
Yeah.
You're never really calling on monsters? No blue-eyed white dragon?
Okay, well, they in the first season of the anime, they like touched on the concept of like people call like
based off like
ancient
Egyptian
Egyptian pharaohs like calling on monsters and magic, but they got rid of that pretty quickly, and it's just playing a card game now.
Oh,
sometimes they ride motorcycles while they play the card game.
So is there flavor text on Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Yep. Only on the regular
ones,
vanilla ones called.
Interesting.
Normal
so
one.
Flavor text is what usually gives you the background and story of the cards in just a few brief words. So what else can we say about the planet Cray? It is a world where there is very advanced technology, as well as lots of magic and magical creatures. So everything from robots to elves and dragons and obviously ghosts and werewolves and everything. Basically everything lives on the planet Cray. And all of the different nations have kind of a characteristic to their inhabitants. So let's go through the different nations. We're not going to talk about clans yet, but kind of give a description of what the different nations of the planet Cray are. And actually, one thing to keep in mind is even though Bushiroad is very clear in always describing the nations and including information about the nations in describing Vanguard, they actually have no impact on gameplay. Nation is never referred to in the actual game, so nation only exists purely for flavor.
Well, it's like the thing, it leaves it open, like in the future, if they wanted to add a mechanic that bases in effect, if so, say in the future we have like you can use multiple clans in your deck, and say you have like a United Sanctuary deck, and then there's like cards that use effects based on what nation you're in. So they leave it open for the future if they want to add something like that in and just add layers to the game itself. But as of right now, there's nothing that like uses the card nation. But starting with the G era, the cards do have their clan nation's flag in the corner of the card.
Yeah,
so
well, that helps
I kind
to differentiate whether you're using a G era card or not, because they have made an official fighting format that is G era cards only.
I think they really just added it for future reference, mate, is what my opinion is, because in G format itself, there's still ways you can there's still cards that you can play that don't have the flag in the corner. Like they had like, I believe there was a list of like specific cards you could play because it made certain cards unplayable, and they just made a list for that.
Well, for now, until they're reprinted as G era cards.
Exactly.
But yes, so it's either leaves the ability for different fighting formats, because one thing about Vanguard is they do have a few different fighting formats if you want to do different types of competitions. So they might do a nations format versus the regular fighters format. And then it also does leave the possibility for a mechanic that is based on nations and referring to cards or building a deck within a nation rather than only based on clan. So, what are the different nations? Number one, everybody's most favorite, is United Sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the good guys. Dragon Empire. That's the bad guys. Dark Zone. So that's kind of right. So United Sanctuary is mostly like fantasy people. Dragon Empire is dragons and dinosaurs, right? Dark Zone is spooky, creepy things, kind of primarily. Megalonica, which I can pronounce properly now, is the ocean. The Zoo Nation, which is very underrepresented, is, well, actually, no, Neonectar gets its props. Plants and animals. The Stargate Nation is the interface between Cray and the rest of the universe. So that is where you get all your space creatures and things like that. Cole, what's your favorite nation?
I guess United Sanctuary, although the star one. What did you just? I can't remember what you just said.
Stargate.
Stargate.
Just
Sorry.
like the awesome television
That's-
show.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's easy to remember now. Yeah. They're a close second.
And Jack, what's your favorite nation?
Probably United Sanctuary, considering I play Royal Paladins and Gold Paladins are my two like favorite decks. But I'm not like there's some people that are devoted to one clan and they only play, or devoted to one nation and they only play clans within that nation. I like don't really care as much. Like I'll play, like I'm building my Kagero deck. I have a Spike Brothers deck, which is Dark Zone. So I have decks from at least 3 of the nations. Just Royals and Golds are my favorite, so I guess I'd go with United Sanctuary.
All right. So our term of the week this week is going
Wait,
along.
Will.
What?
What's your favorite nation?
Aw,
I don't have
yeah.
a favorite.
You gotta pick one.
Where are the link
Well,
jokers from? Are they from Stargate?
Stargate,
They're
I
from
believe.
Stargate, yeah. So I didn't used to
just
be
have a
Stargate, but I've
different
certainly
thing.
moved into Stargate. All right. So, but obviously my original was Oracle Think Tank, which is a United Sanctuary nation. It's hard not to have a United United Sanctuary, or the Fire Nation, Dragon Empire.
Fire Nation.
The fire.
Because they have the most clans within each of those
Yeah.
nations.
They definitely do.
Um,
Well, I mean, it's definitely United Sanctuary, and then it just all kind of goes down from there. Most of the other ones have like 3 or 4. Like Stargate technically has 4, but like I don't consider Etranger or Etranger an actual clan.
Why don't you believe Étranger is a clan?
Étranger, what?
Étranger, it's a French word.
Is that the actual pronunciation?
Yes, I studied French for a number of years. It's Étranger.
Okay, well, I don't really consider that a clan because first of all, in America we have none of these cards. Second of all, it's all just promo cards, and I don't think there's enough cards to actually like make a deck. Like there's cards with pictures of like actual people on the cards, but it's like in Japan and I think maybe Singapore only thing. It's not something we have here.
And that is one thing we didn't mention about the background of Vanguard, which still intrigues me, and I think we'll research it further for a later episode, is that Vanguard is very, very popular in Singapore.
Yeah, it's
like
also
of all countries.
Well, I mean, that's where it originated, was Singapore. And then also, I don't know like a lot of information on this, but apparently it's starting to become like super, super popular in Thailand. Like they're getting exclusive decks and stuff that hasn't been released anywhere else because the demand in Thailand is just super high apparently right now.
And what makes you think that Vanguard originated in Singapore?
It did. That's what makes me think that.
I think that's going to be an errata for next week.
Will's errata.
We're going to find out whether it originated in Japan or Singapore. All right. We'll go on to our term of the week, which is clan. And clan is, how would you describe clan, Jack? How would you define that?
So when you're playing Vanguard, you have a deck, and as of right now, the rule is you can only use, in the main competitive format, you can only use cards from one clan in your deck. That's called Cardfight. You can only use your cards from one clan in your deck. So your clan is really your army that you're using on Cray, your army that you're using to fight off other clans. It's just really, it's your deck that, I don't really know what else to. It's just really your main deck that you use is really what I would define.
Cole, you give it a try. How would you define clan?
Clan is your armory, basically, and then you'll call those specific units from that to defend your clan's honor, your country. Not okay. It's more like a state, really. You got your nation, and then you've got your clans, which are like your state. So it's almost like the National Guard, but just for your state.
National Guard, but just for your state.
Exactly.
I think clan is a collection of symbiotic actors within the world of Vanguard and On and Cray that work well and are inclined to fight together against common enemies. But what is essential when you are deciding whether you want to play Vanguard or not, and how you want to play Vanguard, is to identify which clan or clans speak most to you. You do not want to play a clan where you are putting down cards that you just don't have any kind of identification with the creature on that card, unless you're one of those people that only plays to win, and then you're doing Vanguard wrong. Vanguard's supposed to be about having fun. So you should pick a clan where you're like, I really identify with these particular creatures that are doing this particular thing or have this particular goal. It kind of speaks to me as a person the way that these creatures appear. So it really tells like who's your prime clan, says a lot about you. And you should be more willing to invest your energy and interest in working with a clan that you really, really love because of the clan, not because it's the winning deck, right? Every deck will be the winning deck eventually someday. Bushiroad does try to keep things balanced. So you just want to make sure that you're really enjoying playing the cards that you have in your clan. When we were preparing for this episode, I told Jack and Cole that I was going to give them a pop quiz. And what we're going to do, so that people can get some background about the different clans of Cray and maybe get an idea of which one they might most want to play, I am going to go through and name the clans, and then Jack and Cole have to describe the clan in 4 words or less.
We got 4 words now.
I'm giving you guys up to 4 words. 4 words or less, and tell me what is the best description you can give of a particular clan given those 4 words. So, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Jack, you're ready. Okay. So let's do it where Cole goes first, and then Jack, you follow up. I think it'll be more humorous that way. All right. Number 1, Dimension Police.
Super crazy robot dudes.
Police, robots, Dimension Justice.
That's terrible.
I should have thrown Justice in there.
Justice. Great nature.
Cute animal scientist.
Animals researching science stuff.
Also, animals as scientific instruments themselves. Bermuda Triangle.
I had one for this one. Cute mermaid idols.
Mermaids, the SPs have legs.
Yeah, there's a little known fact that one of the Bermuda Triangle cards had to get reprinted, but I have the original print. Dark Irregulars.
Cool looking evil people.
Demons, evil, dark. Yeah, I don't know.
Vampires and demons, yes. Narukami.
Lightning dragon people.
Thunder, dragon, lizards.
Oracle Think Tank.
All right, for this one, I get Oracle Think Tank and Genesis kind of.
Inexcusable.
Let's see. Delicious dessert maidens.
Acceptable.
Smart people.
Smart people. That would be a fortune-telling corporation led by Japanese gods and goddesses. All right.
That's not 4 words, Will.
I am not limited to 4 words. Link Joker.
Oh, really cool X-Evils.
Space aliens turning evil.
Neo Nectar.
Flowery petal princess fencers.
Flower maiden people cute.
Aquaforce.
This is trying me. I haven't played Aquaforce played against Aqua Force in a while. Oh, here we go. Marine Dragon Otters.
Sailors, dragons, wave, water.
Pale Moon.
Demonic Carnival / Circus.
Cutesy demonic circus people.
Tachikaze.
Zoid ripoffs.
Dinosaurs eating other dinosaurs.
Delicious. Shadow Paladin.
Wannabe Royal Paladins.
I was gonna say evil royal paladins.
Well, you're not far. All right. Nova Grapplers.
Animal robot hybrid plus. I guess that's my 4 words.
Gundam fighting people. Yeah.
Nova Grapplers are the WWE of the planet Cray.
Okay.
I thought you no longer had affiliation with the WWE, Will.
That's why I give all my money to the Nova Grapplers. Mega Colony.
Beetleborgs, the clan.
Trash.
No. They're not trash.
Bugs shooting
Granblue.
webs. Yeah.
Granblue.
Ghost pirates and vampires.
Scary for Will.
Spike Brothers.
Demonic football players.
Yeah.
Oh,
Demonic,
that one was the easiest one.
There's nothing. There's no other and cheerleaders.
And robots. They have robots.
Robots that are football players.
Kagero.
Fire dragon overlords.
Royal
Tyrannical.
Oh, oops.
Whoa.
Sorry, Jack.
Whoa there. Tyrannical fire dragon kings.
That's the definition I gave you before the show started. You are
No.
getting 1 point off for that.
Definitely not.
Royal Paladin.
The good guys.
Everyone's favorite.
Gear Chronicle.
The new guys.
Time traveling robots.
Who are also
meetings.
steampunk.
Yeah.
You should have said steampunk new guys.
I should have. I thought of that afterwards.
Murakumo.
Shoot. I'm drawing a blank. What do they look like?
Jack.
The same as Nubatama.
Incorrect.
They're pretty
Right.
much the same thing.
Animal ninjas. That would be the correct answer. Animal ninjas.
They were pretty much the same as Nubatama. I'm not that wrong.
So, what's Nubatama then?
We'll get to that
Nubatama
one later.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Gold Paladin.
Sun Knights.
New Royal Paladins.
Nubatama.
Ninjas.
Yeah. There's nothing. Ninjas, I guess.
I should have said Katana World. Dang it.
Angel Feather.
Angel healers / nurses.
Angels that heal stuff.
Genesis.
Okay, let's think. I gotta represent these guys. Okay. Futuristic gods and myths.
Oracle think tank knockoff.
You're so right, Jack. That's like you get extra credit for that. Except that Genesis is based around Nordic gods and goddesses.
Ooh.
But yes, it is a competing corporation to the Oracle think tank. And I believe after that terrible performance by Cole and Jack in their pop quiz this week, we will bring things to a close.
What about the
Étranger?
Cray Elementals?
Cray Elementals are not a clan. They have no clan.
What about Token Rambu?
We also do not include them. We'll have to talk about them at some other time. They have no clan. They are clanless people. And
Are they
can
really
be included
clanless?
in any deck. Yes.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, they can be included in any deck. All right, so please review our podcast in iTunes now that we are actually in iTunes and can be reviewed. Any reviews and notes that you can put in there will help us to gain more notice and have more people find our podcast about Cardfight Vanguard. Want to say thank you to our executive producer, SBJ, for all he does to get this actually in iTunes and published in a reasonable way. And thanks to Nick Burgess for our intro and outro music. If you guys want to reach us, I think the best way still is on Twitter. So I'm at Washing the Sink.
I'm at Cole McCune, COLE_MCCUNE.
And I'm at Drive_Jack. Thank you guys for listening to the Cardfight Vanguard podcast, the Drive Check podcast, and thank you again. I guess I don't know. Just cut me off now, please.
You don't want to peace out and grease out?
Peace out and grease out.
You can say whatever you